Hope of crowning the first four-belt undisputed champion in super middleweight history on Saturday night when global superstar and Mexican icon Canelo Alvarez defends his trio of 168-pound world titles against unbeaten IBF champion Caleb Plant. Of course, you can see that fight only on Showtime pay-per-view. My name is Brian Campbell, and welcome on in to the grand arrivals here in Las Vegas, just 4 days out from fight night, when behind me, over my shoulder here, the doors to the MGM Grand Garden Arena, the site of so many boxing super fights over the past 2 decades, will hold this historic event. Still a few tickets available as we are nearly sold out. Head on over to the MGM Grand box office to get yours. If you're in Las Vegas, you can also get a closed circuit ticket at the nearby Park MGM Resort. But if you can't make it to Sin City, you got to see this fight. It's Saturday night. It's Showtime pay-per-view. You can purchase it on many different traditional cable, satellite, and digital platforms. You can also head on over to show.com. That's SHO/PPV. Pre-order this fight. You don't want to miss out with a history that's on the line Saturday night. Canelo Álvarez, Caleb Plant. We're going to speak with both fighters in a second as they make their grand arrival. They meet with the media. They walk the red carpet. But in the lead up to this grand event, Showtime's all-access cameras have been there every step of the journey throughout training camp. Let's take a look back at Caleb Plant's walk to get to this point in his life and career, entering the biggest fight of his own come Saturday night.
Pulling up right now to the gym. Watch the homie Caleb, do his thing. To let him know we're riding with him. What's up, my boy? He came to show you some love, man. We're out here, man. Yeah, man.
Las Vegas may be a city of high rollers, but it's also a home to low riders. And today they're rolling up to support an honorary member, Caleb Plant, the undefeated super middleweight champ.
I met Caleb through the car scene. I know where he came from. I know his story. He came up from the bottom just like most of us did. We're going to have his back. He's going to have ours. There's going to be a beautiful thing.
You know, you work hard and you're a solid person. You know, it really don't matter what you look like or where you're from, you know.
That's what's up. All right, my brother. Always.
Caleb becoming the undisputed super middleweight champion of the world. It's the type of matchup you dream of. Your fighter fighting the best fighter in the world for all of the marbles. I embrace the challenge 100%.
I like going back to that jab there. That's good. Because it freezes them up and it opens up your toolbox and opportunities.
The people who know Plant best have seen him summon uncommon strength countless times before. Like head trainer Justin Gamber, who has guided the boxer since 2013.
You know what I mean? When you're boom, kind of going back to that and working off it with different power shots. Good job.
All of the adversity that Caleb's faced in his career, all the hurdles that he's had to overcome, there's no such thing as a problem anymore. You can overcome anything, and that's the key to winning.
Yeah, bait and turn so you don't get caught up in a straight line.
Plant's tenacity caught the boxing world's attention in 2019 when he seized the title he had promised his late daughter Aaliyah. That night unlocked the formula he carried through 3 title defenses. Fast movement, quick striking, above all ferocious.
You see him getting meaner and meaner as the fight gets closer and closer. I would describe Caleb's mentality as a junkyard dog. And that's what you need to be a top fighter in boxing. You have to have the skill, but you have to have that grit too, that dog in you.
Boom, right there. Boom, right there. Time. Good job.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to the MGM Grand Garden Arena. We are here for the grand arrivals of Canelo Alvarez versus Caleb Sweet Hands Plant. The Mexican superstar Canelo Alvarez and undefeated world champion Caleb Plant will battle to crown the first ever undisputed super middleweight champion. This year's most highly anticipated fight takes place Saturday, November 6th, live on Showtime pay-per-view. This is a premier boxing champions event live from the MGM Grand Garden Arena. Limited tickets are available at the MGM box office. This event is promoted by Canelo Promotions, TGB Promotions, and sponsored by Hennessy and Value. Ladies and gentlemen, Caleb Sweet Hands Plant, 21 victories, 0 losses, 12 of those coming by way of knockout. He is the undefeated IBF super middleweight world champion. He is the pride of Ashland City, Tennessee. He trains right here in Las Vegas with co-trainers Justin Gamber and his father, Richie Plant. He won his first title in January of 2019. He has made 3 successful defenses of his world title heading into the showdown against Canelo. Yeah. He looks to make history this Saturday by becoming the first unified, undisputed super middleweight world title holder in the boxing history. Stand by and we'll throw it to Showtime Sports host Brian Campbell.
Thank you so much. Here with the unbeaten IBF super middleweight champion, Caleb Sweet Hands Plant. Caleb, we've watched the all-action.
Sacrifice a lot for this sport, and not just me, but my whole team. And we're happy to be here, but we're not happy to just be here. We're here to win those belts and become the first undisputed super middleweight of all time.
Let's be clear, you've been brash. You've come out and said, I'm not here just to hang around, I'm here to win. That September 22nd press conference in Beverly Hills, you mixed it up a little bit with Canelo. What message do you think you sent, not only to Alvarez, but to the boxing world?
I think he knows he's got someone in front of him who's not just here to hand his belt over, not just here to pick up a check, but like I said, here to get those belts, and that's exactly what I'm here to do. That's exactly what me and my team are here to do, and November 6th, you guys are going to find out firsthand.
Anytime you're set to face the pound-for-pound king of a sport, you're more than likely going to be the underdog. What are the odds makers? What are the critics? What do they not know about Caleb Plant that they should entering Saturday night?
I mean, odds are just odds. Those are just numbers. Numbers can't measure what's in here. They can't measure what's in here. And, you know, I've been the underdog before, and they've been wrong before. So numbers are just numbers. I don't pay attention to that. I pay attention to what I can be in control of. And that's my training. That's my discipline. And that's the game plan, and that's what we're focused on.
Saturday night inside this building behind us, the MGM Grand Garden Arena, you'll get the #1 in the sport. How do you match up with him, X's and O's?
I mean, I match up well. If I didn't feel like I'd win, I wouldn't be here. So Saturday night, tune in for yourself. You can see firsthand. There's nothing I can say that will convince you guys. There's nothing I can say that will change your minds of, well, I didn't think he could win, but I think he can win now. So I can show you better than I can tell you. Tune in November 6th.
What's your message to everybody from Ashland City, Tennessee, everyone who's helped you get to this spot, the brightest lights, the biggest stage possible in this sport?
Just hoping everybody tunes in. Appreciate everybody back home in Middle Tennessee, Ashland City, Nashville, and November 6th, you guys got an undisputed champ on your hands.
Thank you so much, and best of luck, Caleb.
Appreciate it.
You see him right there, the unbeaten IBF super middleweight champion, Caleb Sweet Hands Plant. It's been a long journey for him to get to this point, an undisputed championship opportunity on Saturday against not only the pound-for-pound king, but we know him as the biggest global superstar in the sport of boxing, Canelo Alvarez. But if we've learned anything about Caleb Plant as he walks the red carpet once more and answers questions in the media scrum, it's that he believes he was born for this moment. There's no amount of fear, no amount of trepidation in not only accepting this fight and Canelo Alvarez's march to be not only become the first undisputed super middleweight champion, but continue what he started, which is titles in 4 divisions, unifications in 4 divisions. This is the fight Caleb Plant believes he was born for. He'll be a heavy underdog, but if you look back at his story and his rise, and like I talked to him just a moment ago, the confidence and the passion he has shown in the build to this fight, he's at worst a live underdog. He's going to have an opportunity just the same as anyone else who stood up to Canelo Alvarez to try to unseat boxing's king and try to defend his title and acquire all 4 belts, something we've never seen in this division before. So who is Caleb Plant? Ashland City, Tennessee, not exactly the home of boxing tradition, but he certainly made it his own throughout an upbringing in which he certainly had highs and alternated on the 2012 U.S. Olympic boxing team. He also had lows growing up in poverty, drug addiction in his household. Of course, once he became an amateur, the premature death of his daughter, and more. But this is a Caleb Plant who has fought through that and persevered and believes it's part of what has made him battle-tested entering this point. And of course, the boxing world at large really got to know his name the first time when he had his 2019 close-up in his title opportunity against Jose Uzcategui. That fight took place in Los Angeles, and it was a coming-out moment in many ways as Caleb Plant scored 2 knockdowns in his biggest fight, maybe his toughest fight on paper to date, and went on to take home a unanimous decision in a fight that really picked up in the second half down the stretch as Uzcategui fought to try to keep his world title. But for Plant, it was certainly the breakthrough moment that has led to a trio of title defenses and some very big platforms as the PBC has given Plant a chance to stretch his muscle, big main event, national television opportunities, pay-per-view spots in very key fights as he defended against the likes of Mike Lee, most recently former 168-pound world champion Caleb Truax. And the timing of this fight was really perfect for Plant, as Canelo Alvarez has been on an incredibly busy schedule despite having the leverage to seemingly do whatever he wants as the face of this sport at the moment. And what Canelo Alvarez has wanted to do is be active. This will be his 4th fight in a 12-month stretch through the pandemic, no less, which you really just don't see on the highest level of this sport. But Alvarez put his ducks in a row, meaning fought the other champions to acquire the world titles necessary to set up this unification bout, 4 belts, undisputed championship, and that's where Caleb Plant finds himself. And there's no greater moment to reference in the fight build to this one than, of course, that September 22nd press conference, Beverly Hills, California. Did we expect those type of pre-fight fireworks? No, would be a correct answer right there, but there's no question that did a lot for the viral nature of the build to this fight. But it certainly was a big moment, as Caleb Plant just said himself, to stand out and say, I'm not afraid of Canelo Alvarez. I'm not here to politely hand over my world title and humbly lose. He's fair to win. The odds makers love Canelo. It's hard not to love somebody who's had that sustained excellence atop the sport. But make no mistake that Caleb Plant is hungry. He's not afraid of Canelo. He didn't back down for a second, including when the two traded pushes, slaps, punches, whatever they ended up being that September 22nd day. Plant may have been cut under his right eye from the skirmish, but he still finished the job on the podium that day to promote and announce this fight in his now famous speech about doing extraordinary things and living anything but an ordinary life. And if you've talked to Caleb Plant, if you've seen the Showtime All Access pre-fight documentary series, which did a great job really showing the motivation, the journey to get here, it's been anything but easy. But I liked what Caleb Plant had to say most in that, when he said, you know, there's going to be no stones unturned. There's going to be no reason that I'm not going to do everything it takes to try to win this fight, because I wouldn't be sitting in front of this camera right now talking to you unless I've done that every step of my career. He was never a young promotional favorite, didn't get big-time opportunities early, but fought his way to where he is now, the summit. The lights are the brightest on the pay-per-view level in Las Vegas when you're taking on the pound-for-pound king in one Canelo Alvarez. But Plant, 29 years old, 21-0 with 12 KOs. He's passed every test in front of him up to this point. Has he passed it all with flying colors? He's had to grow through his fights. He's had to learn on the job. But he comes in here as a confident, unbeaten champion. And certainly has a say at this table with that hand speed, with that foot speed, with that ability to box, with the way he darts in and out to set up his combinations. He may be a pure boxer, but he's an aggressive, pure boxer. And one has to believe he's going to have to establish something come Saturday night to gain the respect against Canelo, who has evolved into such a well-rounded force across 4 different divisions. And as we found out so far in his march across super middleweight, a destroyer in many ways. His Plant speed, it's his combination of mental toughness and ring IQ. Will it be enough? Well, you're gonna have to tune in Saturday night to Showtime pay-per-view to find out. I will say this, love him, hate him, whatever you want to do, you have to respect the front that Caleb Plant has put out in the build to this fight. We know he's going to give it his best shot. Will he have more success than the recent champions that have lost to Canelo? We will certainly find out. You can see Caleb Plant behind me finishing up his red carpet walk with reporters just outside the entrance of the MGM Grand Garden Arena here in Las Vegas. It's the site, like I mentioned, of so many grand fight events over the past 2 decades, so many in the early march of Canelo Alvarez, who of course fought Floyd Mayweather here in that 2013 blockbuster pay-per-view at just the age of 23, defended titles, moved on to fight Erislandy Lara in this building. He's been here. For Caleb Plant, this is his first time in the headlining pay-per-view role. It's going to have a lot to prove to the doubters, to the critics, to the odds makers who never saw him as a favored one entering this one. But as he likes to say, he's got the same chance as anyone when they touch gloves. And as I mentioned, he's been impressive in his confidence and the skill he put out to get to this point. Did he dazzle, especially in his last fight when we saw him against Caleb Truex? There was some good, there was some bad. Overall, though, he swept the former champion in a 12-round unanimous decision, winning every round on all 3 judges' scorecards. And it was enough at the end of the day to get him the fight he was looking for, the fight the boxing fans were looking for, knowing the intentions, the motivations of one Canelo Alvarez, who you really can't state it enough. When you have the type of power that Canelo yields as that rare crossing over fighter who can be critically the pound-for-pound #1 in the game and commercially the biggest pay-per-view star, he can do what he wants. He can fight anybody that he wants. Canelo Alvarez chose to continue his search for greatness, to close out 168 pounds, to leave no doubt, leave no stone unturned. Well, that final stone, that rock there, is Caleb Plant. We'll find out Saturday night what he has to go through to try to fulfill his dreams. But we mentioned Showtime's all-access documentary crew has been along the way for both fighters on their journey. Caleb Plant's training camp in Las Vegas, Canelo Alvarez preparing under coach Eddie Reynoso in San Diego. Let's take a look back at the sights, sounds, and scenes that the all-access cameras have captured ahead of Saturday night's historic super middleweight unification.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to you, and we welcome you to the beautiful Beverly Hilton Hotel here in Beverly Hills, California. One of the most highly anticipated fights of the year. It's champion versus champion with Canelo Alvarez versus Caleb Plant.
I feel good. I feel ready for the fight. I always ready for a fight. It's part of my life. I want to make history in boxing. That's why I'm here, and so it's important for me.
Si tuvieras que poner en una lista la importancia de tus peleas, ¿dónde pones la del 6 de noviembre?
De las más importantes, porque es unificar títulos, una de las cosas que muy pocos han logrado, que es para todos los mexicanos.
What we're going to try and do is just a slow walk in. You guys will stop so that your respective spots. 3, 2, 1.
He's got somebody in front of him who he knows is not scared of him. Not here to just sit all quiet and hand over his belt and ride off into the sunset. Like, that's not why I'm here. For some reason, I think it strokes his ego the wrong way, and he don't like that.
I respect his skills. He have a lot of skills in boxing, but the way he say bad things, that's not my way to promote fights. But he come with that. Okay, you got what you want.
I don't know. I don't look at him any different than anybody else that I fought. He's just, to me, he's another opponent. So, how do you think he's gonna act? That's up to him.
Is there anything that scares you, Canelo Alvarez? What frightens you?
Nothing about boxing.
No.
This is what I love.
Yeah.
So.
Well, my pleasure to introduce the principals at this time. We're going to bring them out. They're going to face off for the very first time.
I don't know, this whole might blow up for real. I might just ruin all this today, for real.
Please welcome the undefeated and defending IBF super middleweight champion,
Vamos sin temor.
Alvarez.
See soon.
Well, you will see something different.
See soon.
I promise.
I ain't these
You're
little
gonna
boys.
pay everything.
You gonna see?
You're gonna pay everything. You're gonna feel something different. You're gonna feel something different. I promise you. You will see. You're gonna feel something different.
Yeah.
You know in this level. You know in this level. You're gonna see. You're gonna see. You're gonna see, motherfucker. Okay. Don't tell me.
On November 6th, two men who have reached an impasse will clarify what combat is for. Yes, the stakes are high in this blockbuster bout for an undisputed championship held in a fighting mecca that is no stranger to history. But this is not just a boxing match, at least not in the traditional sense. It's not defined by celebrity, spectacle, or media attention. It's more primal than that. It's two men who seek comfort and clarity through violence.
Tremendous punishment. Oh, wow.
Two men with broad shoulders who carry unfathomable weight deep within their hearts. From the ashes of despair, loss, and poverty, these men are not fighters because they're athletes. These men are fighters because they don't know how else to live.
The work can't.
But clarity remains a tricky concept, especially when it's delivered by fist. Because on November 6th, answers will be served the old-fashioned way. And only one champion will receive the comfort he seeks.
All of you who tell me what I can't do, a lot of you live believable lives. I set out to live an unbelievable life and accomplish unbelievable things.
He thinks that if he beats you, he'll have a big name then.
Everybody thinks the same thing. Es una historia para todos mis fanáticos, para todo México, que vamos a hacer historia, si Dios quiere, juntos.
Most fighters don't even look like this on the scale.
Well, we've heard from Caleb Plant, but you hear the sounds of the great mariachi band welcoming him in. We have word that Canelo Alvarez is close. The unified super middleweight champion, who of course had titles in 4 different divisions, and trying for history on Saturday night only on Showtime pay-per-view as he seeks supremacy at 168 pounds in the first 4-belt undisputed champion. Canelo comes from a boxing family in many ways, growing up in Jalisco, Guadalajara in Mexico, the youngest of 7 brothers, all who went on to the professional ranks in boxing. But even though some brothers have won world titles or fought for world titles, none have had the success of Saul, Canelo Alvarez himself, as boxing's pound-for-pound king and, of course, the sport's biggest star. Before we hear from Canelo and he walks the red carpet, let's take a look back at his training camp in San Diego as the Showtime All Access cameras chronicled his journey.
Tienes que tener mucho carácter en el boxeo para llegar a ser. Si no tienes el carácter, si no tienes ese instinto de ser peleador, pues no puedes llegar, pero no es lo mismo.
The youngest of 8 siblings and one of 7 boys who boxed. A fighting spirit lifted Alvarez from humble beginnings in Guadalajara to the top of the toughest sport. After turning pro at 15, Canelo has spent more than half his life conquering boxing with flair. Alongside trainer Eddie Reynoso, he has won championships in 4 divisions, staking his claim as the best boxer of this era.
Ahí va, 10 segundos. Vamos, vamos, mi dog. Modo killer. Modo killer.
Va, a veces te agarras pensando y ya ves el camino que has recorrido, en este caso con Canelo, que pues ya tenemos casi 17 años trabajando.
Ahí va, 2 más. Ahí va.
Lo más importante aquí es que no se le dio el hambre de seguir creciendo, de seguir ganando, de seguir triunfando en el boxeo.
For Canelo, Plant's claims to the throne are nothing new. Same song, different singer. And yet, this particular opponent has made this particular bout undisputedly personal.
When I take something personal, for me it's even better because my mind is strong. I train like more hard than usually. I'm gonna be in the ring that night and thinking about what happened. Es un buen boxeador, boxea bien, tiene un buen jab, rápido, buenas combinaciones, es alto, va a ser difícil en los primeros asaltos.
Eso vivo.
No es una pelea fácil, pero como te digo, tengo las habilidades y tengo la experiencia de poder haber estado con peleador, con todo tipo de estilos en el cuadrilátero y pues tengo esa experiencia y ahora sí que las habilidades para lograr esto. Y estoy muy confiado en que lo puedo hacer. No confiado en el mal sentido, sino confiado en lo que sé hacer y en lo que puedo hacer.
Bueno.
Ladies and gentlemen, Canelo has an outstanding record of 56 wins, 1 loss, 2 of those fights coming in a draw. 38 of those wins have come by way of knockout. He is the boxing's #1 pound-for-pound fighter and sport's largest attraction. He is a 4-division world champion. The fighting pride of Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico. Trained by his coach and manager, Eddie Reynoso, throughout his storied career. He currently holds the WBC, WBA, and WBO super middleweight world titles. Already a Hall of Famer at the age of 31, he can become the first fighter from Mexico to become an undisputed world champion. He is looking to make history this Saturday night inside the Grand Garden MGM, November 6th, Showtime pay-per-view. Once again, he is boxing's #1 pound-for-pound fighter and the sport's largest attraction. Ladies and gentlemen, Canelo Alvarez also trains here. Eddie Reynoso throughout his storied career. WBA, WBO, and WBC super middleweight champion. Canelo is looking to unify all belts this Saturday, November 6th, on Showtime pay-per-view and make history in the process. Canelo is looking to add the IBF super middleweight belt to his already trilogy of belts, in which he currently holds the WBO, WBA, and WBC titles. He's looking to also make history and become the first Mexico fighter to be the undisputed world champion. Again, he has an outstanding record of 56 wins, 1 loss, 2 draws, 38 knockouts in the process. This Saturday night, November 6th, MGM Grand Garden Arena, an undisputed super middleweight world champion will be crowned. And now we'll throw it back to Showtime Sports host Brian Campbell.
The pride of Mexico, the pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the world, Canelo Alvarez. You've been on this stage, this city, this arena so many times. Why is this one any different?
No, nothing different. It's nothing new for me. I just love to be here and come back to Las Vegas and fight here. It's always a pleasure for me.
You've won titles in 4 divisions. You could fight anybody you want, but you went out of your way to make this fight because you want that undisputed championship. What does that mean to you?
No, for me, it doesn't mean a lot for me, for my history, for my legacy, means a lot. So that's why we are here, and Saturday night, we want to make history.
It's no secret, it got a little bit personal on the build to this fight with you and Caleb Plant. How much are you still thinking about that entering fight night?
No, that's personal, but I have a strong mind. So I'm going to use that for my advantage. So at the end of the day, I'm going to use my skills, my experience, and that's it, win the fight.
Top fighters don't fight as often as you have been on this run. This will be your 4th fight in 12 months. Why is that so important to be this active?
I love boxing. I love being in there, in the ring. So being with my fans, I love fighting.
What does Caleb Plant bring to the table on Saturday that you've never seen before?
He's a good fighter. He's a good fighter with a lot of skills, but it's nothing new for me. I've been in there with a lot of good fighters, so it's nothing different. I just wanna do my things. Wanna put my experience, my skills, and win the fight.
We all can't wait for the fight Saturday night on Showtime pay-per-view. How does that fight end when you take on Caleb Plant?
I think, in my opinion, it's gonna be like 7-9 rounds.
A mid to late knockout, the prediction for Canelo Alvarez. I wanted to give you a chance to address your fans, address your home country in Spanish ahead of this landmark event.
No, gracias a todos, gracias por todo el apoyo, a todos los medios que siempre están detrás apoyándome, gracias a todos. Espero el sábado estén ahí como siempre. Vamos a hacer historia todos juntos.
Canelo Alvarez, congratulations on getting to another big fight. Best of luck on Saturday night.
Thank you.
I know you want to get in there. Joaquin, excuse me. Coming through.
The star of stars has entered the building at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas. You heard from Canelo Alvarez as you see him on the red carpet answering questions with the media. We mentioned he's been here before when you're talking about the platform, the bright lights, the big-time fights, the pay-per-view level. This is what Canelo does, although interesting, it's been 2 years since we've seen Canelo fight in Las Vegas. That was 2019 when he made a surprising and bold move up to 175 pounds to knock out Sergey Kovalev to claim a title in a fourth weight division. Of course, Canelo, there's been some rumblings about maybe a future in moving back up to 175 and looking to collect titles there, but the business at hand is clear this Saturday night. All 4 super middleweight titles at stake. He's been active. He's been going after the best to acquire these titles, fresh off of his knockout victory over Billy Joe Saunders. Of course, he went the distance in dominating Callum Smith. And you've got a fighter at 31 years old at the peak of his prime who's put together the kind of historic career that you just don't see at this level. You just don't see, again, someone with this much leverage constantly choosing a daring to be great strategy, but his 4th fight in 12 months. He's done mandatories, he's done unifications, he'll do the undisputed dance on Saturday night. But the journey to get to this point, it's been a successful one, it's been a wild one, turning pro at 15 in Mexico. 16 years into this, we mentioned the titles in 4 weight classes, the pound-for-pound #1 certification, which is a feat unto itself, and the fact that he's nearly unanimous across the board during an era filled with critically decorated stars, the Errol Spences, the Terrence Crawfords, the Monster Inoue out of Japan. We've seen so many great stars, Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk, the pound-for-pound rank heavyweights today, but Canelo, the best in show. He's the biggest star in draw. And when we consider about a decade ago when he really started to come on the national and global boxing scene as a junior middleweight, could we have predicted that all these years later, he'd have gone as high as 175 pounds, that he would be at super middleweight, a destroyer, somebody who is more than skilled and willing to outbox you if necessary or needed, but somebody, despite the height that he consistently gives up, is willing to walk down the bigger foes and get them out of here. This has obviously been a tribute to the hard work and the passion that Canelo has with his marketing slogan of no boxing and no life, but obviously a lot of credit to his extended team, and it's his trainer, Eddie Reynoso, Eddie's father, Jose Chepo Reynoso. They managed Canelo, they've trained him, they've been there with him since the very beginning, and the evolution that you've seen, it's been remarkable to remember Canelo as, I don't want to say merely, but a counter puncher as a junior middleweight, a guy who hits hard, knows how to win close fights, but to see him work on that skill set, go back to the gym and hone his craft. There's been very few blemishes on his record, but you can certainly see the impact of how he's responded to those. The only loss on his 56-1-2 ledger was, of course, in this building, that 2013 super fight at 152 pounds at a catchweight against Floyd Mayweather to unify junior middleweight titles. Canelo losing a decision in that one, a majority decision, although very wide on most scorecards. But to see how he responded to that and changed his game and added to his game. And of course, he had a draw in just his 5th pro fight against Jorge Juarez, but he had a very well-publicized draw against Gennady Golovkin once he moved up to middleweight in 2017. And what did Canelo do after that? Came back, rematch a year later and would win a majority decision in an all-time great technical slugfest in which Canelo, you're going to talk about Mexican style, walked down the bigger puncher in the second half, was the fighter coming forward, making the action. He won a very close and disputed but thrilling decision. And you see what Canelo's done with the brief setbacks, how he's built upon them, how he dares to be great and pleases the fans. It's been an incredible journey, and this is one where, in the aftermath of Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao being the faces of this sport during that very profitable and fun welterweight era and the build to their own 2015 super fight, Canelo's taken the reins from there. He's taken the baton. This is, make no mistake, the Canelo Alvarez era right now, as you see Canelo continue to take questions from the media, set the stage for this fight on Saturday night. He's 31 years old. It feels like he's been around for a long time. It's what happens when you turn pro at 15, when you're in star-studded fights for a decade. But we've seen a Canelo Alvarez who's always been ready for this platform, never backed down from a challenge, and he's in the midst of a very historic career. Will it end with acclaim across the board as the greatest fighter in Mexican history? Canelo will tell you himself he's not necessarily into that. He'll leave it in the hands of Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., a man he respects very well, but he's certainly carving out his own unique Hall of Fame career that's far from done at the moment. And this Saturday on Showtime pay-per-view does mark Canelo's return to the network, where he fought 5 times. And this will be his 4th Showtime pay-per-view headlining role and opportunity. He'll be a big betting favorite here. But Caleb Plant, as we've learned, is not backing down. He's very game. Canelo's talked about it. It's been a little bit personal. Remember that skirmish, that brawl at that press conference. How will that affect the game plans, the demeanors of both fighters come Saturday night? We're all going to have to wait. You're going to have to tune in to see. And just a reminder, still a couple tickets left, nearly sold out at the MGM Grand Garden Arena behind us. Head on over to the MGM Grand box office. If you're in the city, you can watch this fight on closed circuit. Tickets available at the Park MGM Resort just across the way on the Strip. But if you can't make it to Las Vegas on Saturday night, you can watch it in the comfort of your own home. And that's, of course, on many traditional digital cable pay-per-view, but it's Showtime pay-per-view, the provider. You can head on over and purchase this early. Show.com, that's SHO.com/PPV. Don't wait until Saturday night. Make it happen now. History will be on the line when Canelo Alvarez, the reigning WBA, WBC, WBO super middleweight champion, takes on unbeaten IBF title holder Caleb Plant. We'll see it on Saturday night, but you heard from the fighters. The stage has been set for what should be a memorable fight week here in Sin City. My name is Brian Campbell. Thank you for tuning in to the grand arrival ahead of all things Canelo Alvarez, Caleb Plant, this Saturday night only on Showtime pay-per-view. We'll see you at the fights.